going to do here tonight is to go through bowl making here, and all of you I'm sure have made bowls at some time or another. The course that we've just done, the first day we worked on bowls, second day platters, today we've been on boxes. This piece of wood that Alan has provided me with, I nearly screwed up on it. He said to me that I'll let you drill a hole in it, and I tipped it upside down and started to drill the wrong way. Because I looked at this piece and I thought what will give me the best out of it, and my intention initially when we saw it, because it was all waxed end and so forth, I thought that the pith core would be the best to be in the bottom of this piece, and when it was cut, when we looked at it, the figure in this piece, at the bottom there'll be no figure at all. So I decided that this is going to be the top and that's going to be bottom, but I decided to start and drill the wrong side of it. So it may shallow up about 3/8 of an inch for me to get that hole out that I started to drill before I woke up. This will go on the screw chuck. This chuck that I'm using, this is an Axminster 4-jaw chuck. It's essentially an engineer's 4-jaw chuck that was modified for wood turning with all the various jaws that fit on it. I would think in the late 80s that it came into being. It was the first of the self-centering 4-jaw type chucks, basically. I still use it, I still like it. The body of it was made in Poland. Every other element of it, I've got about 15 sets of jaws that fit on here. Were all made in Britain by Axminster Power Tool. And for many years this chuck was sold by craft suppliers till it became too expensive, if you like, and they dropped it off the range. And Vicmark and One Way have come out with theirs, and Nova and so on and so forth. But I still prefer to use this chuck, but that's just me. So we go in here, just put that spacer washer on, that screw chuck in there. I've had that since 1981. That's Jerry Glazer's screw chuck. And I just bought the screw and put it into that back plate. As far as I'm concerned, that's still the best screw chuck on the marketplace. And it's stainless steel, and I've had that for nearly 30 years, and as good as the day I bought it. And there's been thousands of bowls on that. So there we go. So I'm going to put this onto the screw chuck and shape this bowl up. And because of the grain configuration in it, this Ambrosia maple, I'm going to make this a more rounded shape than what I was intending to do, but to make better use of the figure of the wood, I believe. Now, I shall probably make this so it doesn't have a foot. If I do, it would be a classic type form, but I shall get rid of quite a bit of the figure, I think, if I turn the more angular form with a foot to it. So I shall make this a more rounded form, if you will. This lathe, how old's this lathe? It doesn't have a lot of use, that's for sure. Sorry?
I'm not sure. It's whenever the AAW was in Providence, because that's when I picked it up.
Right. All I'll say is I've got one of these at home. Mine's a 2416, and I've got the 17-inch arm out here. That looks as though it's about 200 years old. This side looks like this, pristine, because I never worked this side of it. I'm what I term a headstock turner. I do very little stuff between centres, and so most of the time I just rely on faceplates and chucks and so forth and go for it, if you will. I never put stuff up between centres very often to centralise things, I just go. So, there we go. I'll use the half-inch bowl gouge. The angles on the end of here, I don't go the ultra round back like the Ellsworth grinds and so forth. Mine are a halfway house between the square across and the extreme grinds and pulling it back. The end bevel on here, rather than being at about 45 degrees, which is the most common bevel angle prescribed for bowl turning, the types of shapes and stuff that I make, I tend to work with a 50 to 55 degree angle on here. So it's a bit more obtuse. It means that it's more difficult to make your opening cuts inside, but it's easier to wide round the shapes that you make because you can rub the bevel with that shorter bevel angle. So that's really a brief introduction of it. We'll just knock this in. But this piece is about 12% moisture content in here. He's put a mixture on. And basically the gouge is at 45 degrees. And whatever angle you've got ground on there, you just lift the handle a bit higher or a bit lower according to whatever you've got to let the bevel support it. I'm not breakfast. Roughing. Keep your mouth shut when you do it. last year in excess of 1,000 bowls that I was making last year. The majority of them were domestic utilitarian, not the gallery marketplace. 800 of them came over here to Williams-Sonoma. I don't care if they ever order again, because they were a nightmare to deal with. They paid okay, but their restrictions on what you do and how you ship, you become their shelf stacker as well, and you have to pay for the privilege. What I mean by that is I had to order their barcoded price labels from Avery Label in Italy, who charged me a minimum of 60 euros to agree for that, for 2 euros worth of labels. And I had to put those on the bottom of Williams-Sonoma bowls, so they could just take them out of the box and put them on the shelf. And I was unpaid for that. I didn't appreciate that. They kept adding add-ons to it. They should have paid 20% more for the bowls in the finish than they did. So if they come back again, they certainly won't be getting them at the price they got last year, that's for certain. Okay, so I'm going to take this back here. I've got to come on the left-hand side of it. I'm a naturally right-handed turner, but what you don't really want to be doing is dancing around that lathe when you can just switch the tool from one side of the body to the other. You have to learn to become ambidextrous, to become efficient, basically. This shape that I'm creating here, I'm just going to rough this profile in. This isn't going to be the finished profile before I switch it round. And I'm going to put it onto a I'm just... It may be that I invert this piece yet. I'm going to... It's certainly tearing, but I'm being aggressive with it at this point in time. This Ambrosia maple has lost its cleanness in as much as it's gone grey. It's been around a little bit, I would say, and it hasn't got that pristine look. The paler colour has become greyish in its seasoning and drying, so to speak, so it isn't as dramatic as it should be. But we don't get this stuff in Britain. Ambrosia maple is available to us. The maple is available. The nearest we get is a sycamore, which is more equivalent to your maples, and that's a silky sort of wood and works extremely well, and it's normally been used with this clear. It's essentially a weed strip, really, and it gets used, has been traditionally, in the production of butter and cheese and all the rest of it, that it's odourless and tasteless. It doesn't taint any food. And I make about between 500 and 1,000 cutting boards a year, and they're all made out of the sycamore, basically. And they're just mineral oil finished, that's what they are. Now I've just been looking at this shape as I'm working on it, and this is now falling almost automatically, although I've got to take some of that bottom off because I've drilled that hole in there. Is that I'm looking to make this like a 40% from the top here, 60% from the bottom. You're getting close to the golden ratio division, if you will, where the fullness of the curve is like 40% from the top, 60 from the bottom. And if you work on that basis, you'll normally come off with something that's reasonable in shape, as long as your contours are good between the two datum points, if you will. So at this stage, I'm now going to take a little bit of black away, because I drilled that drill in there by mistake. So I'm going to have to shallow this up a bit. What I hope to do with this piece, eventually, will be to reverse turn it. These days, I put this on a vacuum chuck to finish it. I vacuum chuck everything to finish. But we'll work on a pressure between centres factor and make a dome centre to go in here, just to reverse it out. Now that... okay. The jaws that I've got on this chuck, and I didn't bring any with me, other jaws with me. If I'd got smaller set with me, I'd have probably put a little dovetail in here and expanded the chuck into it, so to speak. But I'm going to glue block this. Actually, now I've taken that depth off, it's going to be better because the streaks are going through higher up, because before it was totally bland there. So now it will look better. So we'll take some of this knuckle off.
I'm sorry? We can get you another chuck if you want another chuck.
No, I'm not bothered. I I just wonder how we ever turned 30 plus years ago with all the equipment that's available to us now. The first time I came to the States was 1981, and when I first started to teach over here, people used to say to me, "You worry less about speeds than anybody we know." Well, we didn't have infinity. We didn't have any opportunity to have variable speed on the lanes in Britain. Like you had the generals over here that you set up at 10 different speeds. Now they're all infinitely variable. I used to use 4 speeds, and that was what you stuck with, and you just got to use it. So it didn't really ever bother me. I never had any hang-on. But once you've had infinitely variable speed lanes, you wonder how the heck you ever turn them. 4-step pulleys, but there, that's another story. Okay, we've got that shape roughed in now, and it's only a profile at the minute. It's not refined. And now what I'll do here is just make this flat across here and I'll glue block this like here. I do a lot of glue blocking. This is about as large as I go. This is probably be, what, 8.5, 8 inch diameter. I don't really glue block much over 8 inches in diameter. This is about where I go to. At this stage, I need to make this flat across the bottom here. I've still got a little hole there, that's alright. I can take that out when I reverse this piece round. Okay, that's pretty flat. There's just a little bit on here. It's better to have it slightly concave rather than convex if you're going to do this, so it doesn't rock. Okay, that's all right. So we'll now put our glue blocks on, or a glue block. I usually use the medium grade hot stuff rather than the thick. The thin is too thick. So we want the medium grade on here. I use the accelerator to speed up the process. All I'll say to you, if you use this method, you more or less have to turn these pieces within a couple of months to finish after you've applied the accelerator on, because the glue goes brittle. If you don't put the accelerator on, you can pick it up in 12 months or 2 years' time. It will still be adhered on there as long as the bottom is true and it wasn't wet and it's pulled off. So we'll put this on. I don't know whether this is a new tube or whether I picked up one of the old ones. We'll find out if it falls off, but we'll find out. So put the accelerator on, bring this into play here, and then rub joint it. I twist it like this to squeeze that glue out, and now that's glued. So at this time, if I was any doubt, I don't want the glue spraying out on you people, so I'll just squib that accelerator on there. Now it's time to round that up.